Morning, everyone. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Vidala.
Good morning. Thank you, cadets. Let's have a big round of applause for the cadets, please. Thank you so much. They're always a great sense of pride for us. Welcome back. Again, this year is going to be a little bit different than before, as indicated by our opening day remarks. Typically, we would be here in front of a full auditorium, and I am very appreciative of our Peabody Veterans Memorial High School staff that has joined us in person, as well as I see some other people out in the district who have joined us in person. And we are also streaming live on YouTube in each of our other buildings. And much like last year, we're looking to adapt and be flexible and make sure that we're doing everything we can to have a great year, and also to make sure that we're adhering to the safety protocols, being as safe as possible, and also making sure that we're taking care of one another. So I'd just like to begin by just welcoming everyone back and saying how appreciative I am. So first of all, welcome back. I hope everybody enjoyed a great summer. It certainly was a different summer than last year. Hopefully everyone had a chance to get together and to be with some friends and family. Last year I started with this slide, and I'd like to start with this again, just the attitude of gratitude. I want to thank everyone, all of our staff and our families, for all the work that you did last year and all the work that you've done leading up to this year. You know, last year there was a lot of unknown, and this staff, the Peabody Public School staff, really took it upon themselves to be out in the forefront. We reported to work last year on August 25th in person, when many school districts did not. And it served us well. We were able to start in a hybrid and stay in a hybrid when other people did not. And for that, I'm extremely grateful for our staff, for the relationship that we have with our unions, and for the positivity that everyone had. We came back full in person at the end of the year before the state required us to, and it served us well. Our kids were happy, our families were happy to be back, and we were able to celebrate with a graduation that was in person, with fans and with parents in the stands at full capacity. We're able to have moving on ceremonies at each of our elementary schools and at our middle school that were in person, and we're able to celebrate that with our families. So for that, I thank you, and I thank you for all the work that you've done to come back. Summer vacation this year was certainly different than it was last summer. Hopefully, you were able to spend some time with family and friends. This summer, we had over 500 students in our schools coming back to school and really enjoying themselves. So here we have some pictures of our program at the Carroll School, where our kids came in 4 days a week and really enjoyed themselves, had some enrichment activities, but also started closing that gap and building the relationships. And here we have our great staff. On the last day, they made tie-dye t-shirts with the kids, and they really were able to enjoy and welcome students back. So for that, I'm very grateful, and I hope that all of you had a wonderful time this summer, and you're excited to come back. So once again, I just want to thank you for all the work that you've done, and I want to thank you for coming back today with a positive attitude, being excited about the year to come, and being excited to return back to full in-person learning with our students. We have a lot of staff coming to welcome this year through our ESSER grant, through the coronavirus relief money that we got. We really focused on helping students and supporting one another and making sure that we really are well-staffed this year to welcome students back. So as I visited schools last year, I heard a lot about student support, supporting one another, mental health, and these are all areas that we've thoughtfully dedicated staff to. So I'd like to welcome at the district level Nancy Charest, who will be our early childhood director, Marcus Vieira, who is joining us as the educational stability liaison. We have a new speech and language pathologist, Michaela Teed, Anthony Palmieri in the health department, Andrea McCollin, Rachel Joyce, Andrea Sherman. Nancy Sotis is joining us as an IEP team chair. Craig Maccarelli is back as an IEP team chair. Stephen Franklin is a psychologist. Emma Tierney is a new art teacher at the elementary level. Catherine Holwell is a music teacher. Tawny Palmieri is still with us. She's switching over as a PE teacher from the health department. We'd like to welcome Matt Bernstein as a school adjustment counselor at the Higgins, Colleen McGowan, Carolyn Mirasola, Julie Cheka, and Evan Ruddick at the district level. We have a number of people, so we're going through, I have 4 slides of new staff this year, which is great, you know, and I think that it's really exciting to be welcoming so many people to our team and to our community. Evan Bork is coming on as a health teacher, Trina Chin Elong, Diana Lefebvre, Joe McGinnity, Stephanie Drivis, Paula Foukas, Andrea Burkikis, Jill Prashong, Catherine Blair, and Amy Daly as a special education teacher. You notice that we're hiring a number of special education teachers at the Burke School to support an inclusion co-taught model. So we're really looking and listening to what we learned last year and bringing our students in to a full inclusion model, and we want to make sure that they're supported in order to do so. We also hired some ELL staff at the Carroll, Martha Sherda, Elizabeth Bento, Brianna Rago as a grade 2 teacher, Ashley Royer, Samantha Warab, Julie Hinchian, Kerry Fitzpatrick. Cara Sinelli's coming back to the Carroll as a paraprofessional, Ashley Keaton, and Julie Metalou as a paraprofessional at the Carroll. Continuing with the Carroll, we have Savannah Lebowski as a special ed teacher, Morgan Scott in grade 2, Bonnie Griffin, Carolyn Wilder, Nancy Martins, Catherine Marchetti, Emily Wyatt, and Laura Braga coming into the center. And again, you'll notice the theme of supporting students and supporting one another here. At the Higgins, we've hired Sandra Mellum as a building access attendant, Kristen Lindquist, Carolyn Zaremba. Megan Orlando is coming in as a science teacher, Ertgal Turksevin as a math teacher, Jason Perella, Ariella Durin, Victoria Siegel coming to the Higgins as well. And then at the McCarthy, we have Julie Muscata, Kristen Giacalone, Caitlin Chimataro, and Beth Lucia coming in as a grade 5 teacher. And our final page of new hires, also at the McCarthy, Teresa Silver. We're welcoming Matthew Mall back at Peabody Prep, which is our virtual school. He'll be a high school teacher. At the high school here at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School, Angela Isidaro as a building access attendant, Joe Ciccarello we'd like to welcome to the business department, Samantha Meyer as a new assistant principal, Kristen Lennon, Jennifer Kornowski, Zachary Kane, Michael McDermott, Murphy Page as a math teacher, Lauren Tansley as the PE teacher, Geraldine Baez Santana as a new Spanish teacher, Amanda Prouty, Brian Donovan here as a history teacher, Molly Cushman as a special education teacher. And then at the Welch, we have Cassandra Keterlakis as a math specialist, Alyssa Olivia welcoming as a grade 1 teacher, Renee Kelly as a new reading specialist, and Amy Drover as a grade 4 teacher. So 4 pages, over 80 new staff this year, and I'd like to say welcome to Peabody. Let's give them a round of applause. For our new staff, we'd like to welcome you. This is a wonderful community. You're going to hear a lot about pride. There's so much pride in this community. It's such a welcoming environment. And last year, I came in as a new superintendent, and I was welcomed with open arms. Despite it being a COVID year, I couldn't be happier to be here, and I hope that you all enjoy your time. We had over 50 people at an in-person new teacher orientation last week, and we got great results. People really gave us some positive feedback, and we just like to welcome people and hit the ground running. So as we begin this year, I'd like to start just by a little bit of reflection on last year. I did this with our administrators in June, and I thought it was a really good way to start the year. So here's an opportunity for us all just to kind of reflect back on last school year. There was a lot to celebrate. People did wonderful things in the classrooms. You should be proud of the work that we did. We were aggressive coming back, and it served our kids well. We saw a lot of growth and a lot of learning from our kids, and that's because of the hard work that all of our staff did. So take 2 minutes just to think a little bit about last year, and what is something about last year that makes you proud? So think about something that makes you proud. Think about something from the pandemic that you wanted to take with you. So something that we did last year that you said, hey, I can bring this into the future, I can bring this into my classroom this year, and then something that you certainly would like to leave behind. Now, I will say that in June, a lot of people were hoping to leave masks behind, which last week a lot of people were hoping to leave masks behind too, and we know that that's not necessarily the case. We're not quite ready to be leaving the masks behind. But that is one thing that we'll continue to make sure that we're working on this year and making sure that we have a safe environment. So take 2 minutes, share with your colleagues that you're sitting with something that makes you proud, something you'd like to take with you out of the pandemic, and something certainly we'd like to leave behind. Okay, take about 30 seconds to finish up your conversation with your colleagues. Okay, and just finish that last sentence, and we'll come back in 3, 2, and 1. Thank you. So if I have some brave souls out here, what is something, just yell it out nice and loud, what is something that made you proud? The students made us proud, absolutely. Thank you so much. The students made us proud. How many people agree with that? Thank you. Yes, our students definitely made us proud. There's a number of things, and I have a few slides here that's going to show some of that pride. But our students really made us proud throughout the year. What else made us proud? 100%. Thank you so much. And I'm going to repeat it for everybody that didn't hear you. A lot of pride in the support that teachers gave each other, the support that the staff gave one another. Last year was hard, and we need to recognize that. But we got through it together because of how much the people in this district care about one another and how willing they are to help a colleague, to help a friend, to help someone if they're struggling. And you mentioned seeing people overwhelmed, head down, struggling, and people there to pick them up. And that's what Peabody is all about, and that's how we got through last year, and that's how we're going to get through this year. So If I may, that's one thing I'd like to take with us, is that continued sense of camaraderie and that continued sense of helping each other out. What is something else that people would like to take with them? Michaeline? We did. We got work done. We got a lot of work done. We got a lot of work done, and I think a lot of people didn't think that we would, but there was a lot of learning going on here, both with the adults and with the students, and we did it together. So we got a lot of work done. Yes? The governor acknowledged our CTE areas last week. That was a huge sense of pride, and it is something we'd like to take with us. We got a huge capital skills grant a year ago that went to culinary arts and electronics and engineering. Developed a great partnership with RCN, and our kids are going to get internships and potentially jobs afterwards. And this year, we're going to take it with us. We've got another one, $125,000 for medical assisting. So we'd like to take that with us and continue that great work.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I was unsure about how the advisory would work last year. And it was the highlight of my year, the advisory at the high school.
That's amazing. So advisory at the high school. Fantastic experience, building relationships with kids, supporting kids, and really learning in a small environment and supporting them. So that's definitely something we want to take with us, and we'll continue that this year. We'll continue to get feedback and provide support to our staff to make sure that we can do it successfully, but that's a great thing that we'd like to take with us. Yes, one more. Absolutely. Students seem to really learn a lot about themselves and how they learn best. And that is something we'd love to take with us. How we can personalize that learning, how we can provide opportunities for kids to have a little bit of student voice and some choice in the way that we give them their assignments and the way they demonstrate their learning. We'd love to take that with us. What are some things you'd like to leave behind? There's a lot of them. Say it a little louder. Exit tickets. Those might be sticking around, at least in some of our classes. What else do we want to leave behind? Fear. I'd love to leave fear behind. That's a good one. I'd love to leave hybrid behind. Quarantining. We'd love to leave quarantining behind. There are going to be some options this year around COVID quarantining, including a test and stay option, which we will talk about in the weeks to come. If you are vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine. So that is a positive case. If you're wearing a mask and you're 3 feet apart, you don't have to quarantine. So those are some positive things. We want to keep kids in school. We want to keep our staff and our colleagues in school so we can continue to support one another. Thank you so much. So as I mentioned before, last year was my first year here as superintendent in the district, and it was an amazing one. For my entry plan, I had 3 goals. First, to build relationships, to get out, meet as many people as I could, build relationships with the community, build relationships with our staff, and build relationships with our students and their families. I did a lot of listening and learning over the past year, and really trying to listen where we are and where we want to go. And then I wanted to develop a plan for continuous improvement. So, as you all may remember, I went to every school last year. We sat down, we had focus groups of teachers and focus groups of administrators, focus groups of students, and we said, what are the strengths? What are the strengths that we have at your school and in the district? So this is a Wordle, and each word was captured in some of the responses. The bigger the word, the more they said it, okay? And so if we look at this, the biggest word is teachers. The next biggest word is students, and the third biggest word is the principal. So many people felt that the community, that the people were the biggest strength. Collaboration, professional development, communications, the kids, the support, the leadership, the great staff that we have in every building. The people are what make this community great. The people are what make this district phenomenal. There are so many things to celebrate. Peabody, like no other community, truly loves extracurricular activities, celebrates our performing arts. We have our Stage 1 Drama Club. Over the course of the year, they adapted, they got creative. Our performing arts in our music department, they were able to find creative ways to continue to celebrate the arts and to continue to make sure kids had opportunities for that. Certainly celebrate our athletics. Our football team had a great year. Our track and field team was wonderful. Our basketball teams and soccer teams had a great year, as did our hockey team. Girls softball made it to the North Final with a freshman pitcher, and they have a great base group that's going to continue. Girls lacrosse made it through into the tournament and had our first All-American. A lot to celebrate with our athletics and with our performing arts, and we want to continue to support these. And again, we have some areas for growth. So a lot of people talked about what are some areas where we want to grow. Time. Time was one of the biggest ones. We wanted our teachers to have time together. We wanted resources and professional development. We want our Parent Information Center, which we had at the Higgins this summer, and we want to continue to support you with that. Support staff, translators, building issues. Kids wanted to be in school every day, so that was really exciting. We wanted to work on curriculum alignment and ELL support and making sure that we have resources. So a lot of what we did with our teachers and the staff that we hired this year was to really address these needs here and these areas for growth. And one thing that we didn't really talk about in the areas for strength, as we celebrate our performing arts and we celebrate each other and the support that you have and the culture that you're developing at the school, one of the things that we really want to get back to is teaching and learning. And we really want to start celebrating the successes of our students academically the same way we celebrate them on the athletic fields and in the performing arts and throughout the community for the wonderful things that they're doing. Our kids are doing great things. We also want to make sure that we are celebrating their academics the same way we celebrate their extracurriculars. And so how do we do this? We need to move forward together. This year we're going to talk a lot about the things that we can do to support one another. So as mentioned earlier, it was so impressive to see people helping each other out and really working together when someone is struggling. That's how we move forward. Last year, we talked about our plan and our vision for the future and what the strategic plan is. We're going to build on that. And I think one of the most important things that we can say is that everything we're doing this year and in the future, it's thoughtful, it's intentional, and it's doing what's best for kids. We want to support each other, and we want to do what's best for kids. Keeping that laser focused to not overwhelm people, but to focus back on what is important, and that's supporting each other and supporting our students. Last year, we talked about our acronym for HOPE. Hope for every student, every day. How do you get out of a pandemic? How do you get out of difficult times and dealing with some of the challenges and the tragedies that this community has dealt with? You do it by looking forward and having hope. And our acronym of HOPE is high expectations for every student every day, optimism for every student every day, that belief that every student can achieve at high levels, that every student can be the best student that they can be and really develop themselves personally, learn about themselves, and develop their truest potential. We can do that through personalized learning, getting to know our students through things like advisory, getting to know our students on a day in and day out basis, making sure we know what makes them tick and how we can personalize the learning experience for them. And our through line in all of this work needs to be built around equity and access. We want to make sure that we provide equitable opportunities for all of our students. We want to make sure that we're breaking down the barriers to access, and we're making sure that we're being very thoughtful as we do so. When we think about high expectations for every student every day, here are two of our best and our brightest. Two 8th graders at the Higgins Middle School. They bring us great pride. They're part of Project 351 ambassadors. So they did a ton of service learning. They're excellent students with high achieving in academics. They both do a ton of extracurricular activities. These students have high expectations for themselves, and their teachers have high expectations for them. We should have the same expectations that we have for these two for every student in our classroom, for every student in our district. They can all achieve at high levels. This is a byproduct of it. These two kids are amazing, and all of our kids can achieve at high levels. We think about optimism. One thing that gave me great pride last year was going to high school graduation in person, the 8th grade moving on ceremonies at the Higgins, and each of our elementary schools. And seeing those 5th graders moving on and seeing the parents with smiles on their faces, happy to be back in person. That type of optimism is going to lead us into this school year. And, so here we have a group of kids that are just so happy. They were moving on from 5th grade, but they're excited about going to middle school. They're excited about the next phase of their life. And that's really the things that we love to celebrate. Personalizing learning. As I look at this group of students, we see a diverse group of students with different needs and different strengths, and we want to celebrate each one of those students. These students reflect all the students that we have in the district. We want to make sure that we provide them with a personalized experience so that they can achieve at high levels, so that they can feel good about themselves, and they can be proud to be graduates of Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. They can be proud to be students here in Peabody, and they can go on to great things and beyond. Again, we want to always have this through line of equity and access. As we look at this picture of our 5th graders at the West, okay, the things that stand out to me are the fact that it's such a welcoming community. This is just indicative of our entire district. We welcome all of our students, regardless of where they came from. They're our students now. Regardless of what challenges they face, we provide them with the same access to high-quality educational opportunities every day. And we want to make sure that we're doing that, and we're keeping that in mind for all of our students. And so when I think about how do we put this all together, each one of our staff members is an important piece of the puzzle. Each one of our staff members is going to work together with their team, with their content area, with their department, with their grade level to do great things. And we're going to need to support one another through that. So in order to achieve that, we want to have a vision at the district level that is clear and consistent year after year so that we can all know what is expected of us. So when I think about how do we move on this year, I read this book by Simon Sinek over here at the end called Start With Why. And this book talks about some of the most successful companies in the world. It talks about Apple, it talks about Southwest Airlines and how they changed the airline industry. And they did so because back in the 80s, it was very expensive to fly. And only wealthy people were able to travel via airplane. And Southwest wanted to change that. And so they wanted to create an economical, passenger-centered airline where their motto was, you are now free to move about the country. And they wanted to be able to change the airline industry. And they did it through customer service, and they did it through making it accessible. And so I think about that story in terms of our classrooms and our educational experiences, and we want to make sure that we're having our classrooms are accessible, but we're also opening up those doors, whether it's to college or to careers or other opportunities for kids, and we're making sure that we do that in a way that is accessible to every student so that they have that opportunity. So when I think about returning to school this fall, I want to kind of go back to why did you become an educator? So last week we did this with our principals and our directors and our administrative team, and we talked about think about why you wanted to pursue a career in education. And what is your why? Why do I teach here? Why do I work in this school? And then, do we have a collective why as a district or as a school or as a department? Do we all share something about why we're here? So let's take a minute, talk to the people next to you, and let's think back to the reason that you became a teacher, and share that with them. What is your why? And then let's hear what their why is and see if there's a little bit of overlap there. Okay, take about 30 seconds to finish up. Oh, this group is good in front of me, I'll tell you. You guys are good. Okay, who would like to just call out? You can even share your partners or your colleagues' why. Why do we become a teacher? Inspiring a new generation of musicians. That's an excellent why. That's an excellent why. Thank you. Why else? A desire to serve. How many people have that desire to serve? Yes. What else? Thank you. Sharing knowledge, ideas, joys, and passion. Amazing. And the word joy in a positive environment. Okay? That's what we have in our schools. That's what we have in our classrooms on a day-to-day basis. And that's what makes kids want to come to school. Okay? How many people said that they wanted to help kids? Yeah, a lot of us. And so when you talked to your colleagues, we may have a different perspective on it, but how many people had a collective why? How many people shared something when someone else spoke? You said, yeah, me too. How many people had that sense of when you talked to someone that you had a similar reason for getting into teaching? Yeah. So what we want to do is develop this collective reason why we're here. To serve, to help kids, to inspire the next generation of whatever fields that we're in. Okay? And inspire kids to maybe do something that they didn't think that they could do before. So when we think of our why, and we think of making sure that it's important that we align the goals of the district with the goals of each school and your goals, and then the students' individual goals. So as we look at this, at the top here we have our district goal. And we'll go through today and do a little bit of what our goals are for this district. And they're similar to what they were last year, because we want to continue working and rowing in the same direction. Your school improvement plans that your principals will talk about later today are based on this same strategic plan and the same vision that we have. These little blue dots represent all of our teachers. All of our teachers collectively having their goals. They can serve our students here down at the bottom. okay? If our students reach their goals, then our teachers meet their goals. If our teachers meet their goals, we meet the school improvement plan goals, and if our school improvement plan goals are all met, the district meets its goals. So we're all connected, and it's important to have that alignment. And just like our crew team here on the right, we all need to be rowing together. We all need to be a team working together. So this slide is similar to what we had last year. We have our vision of hope. And our vision of hope is based on two key areas: building a community and equity and access. Building a community, each one of these pillars is exactly the same as last year: effective communication, collaborative relationships, and community partnerships. That's the forefront of what we're doing. There's two minor changes over here in equity and access. Last year it just said curriculum. And as we talked to everyone, and as we listened, what was missing? The instruction piece, the teaching and learning. Okay? So this year we want to focus on curriculum, instruction, and assessment, and making sure that we're very clear about that. Last year we talked about student support. This work is hard. And as I went around and I realized how much work all of our educators do and all of our staff do and how much they help each other, we changed this. It's a small change, but it's going to have a big impact. We're not just focused on student support, we're focused on student and staff support. And I think we need to support one another, and we want to name it, and we want to say this is important to us. And finally, social emotional learning. Social emotional learning is a big piece of the work that we're doing. We want to continue to take the mental health of our students seriously and provide that. We're hiring a number of school adjustment counselors this year and school psychologists to support that. We also want to make sure we're taking care of each other and we're taking care of the adults in our building. So as we think about building a community, each one of us has an important piece of the puzzle. We need to think about effective communication. How we communicate out of the district office to our staff, to our principals, to our families. How we communicate with each other, all the way down to the teacher level, how we communicate to students and how you communicate to parents. Building collaborative relationships is a major focus this year. Okay? In order to support our staff, we need to provide opportunities and structures for you to work together. Creating common planning time at the high school, creating PLC time at the middle school and at the elementary school. We want to be able to create these spaces for teachers to work together where they can support each other and we can develop collaborative relationships. Over the summer, we had over 50 people attend a training from great school partnerships around facilitating professional learning groups and being able to work together in order to share best practices so that we can work together and be more efficient, so that we can work together and share practices and help your colleagues so that we can all work a little smarter, not a little harder. And finally, community partnerships. As we enter this year, we want to make sure that we are opening our doors again to the great partners that we have. We have wonderful relationships with the Peabody Education Foundation and with the Chamber of Commerce, and we have a number of people who are coming in. We're excited to announce that Science from Scientists that worked in 2 of our elementary schools last year are working in all 8 this year. And they're bringing scientists in to do hands-on experience with our students at all of our elementary schools. And that really hits the equity and access, making sure that everyone has that opportunity. A lot of words on this slide. I'm not going to read it all to you. This is our big picture. This is our district goal, which then our school improvement plans will be built on, and finally, your individual SMART goals. There's really 3 goals built in one. As an individual, you only need to come up with one. But we really want to build a strong and supportive community this year through improving our effective communication with our students, our staff, and our families. We want to improve collaborative relationships. We want to be able to measure that, and we want to have all of our staff participating in a professional learning group. And finally, we want to improve our community partnerships by increasing the number of partners by at least 2 in every school. We want to try to really get more partners in so that we can have better experiences for our families and for our kids. Finally, equity and access. This is really the brunt of the work we're doing, focusing a lot on curriculum alignment, on instruction and assessment. So this year, we really want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support teachers and support our teaching and learning. Student and staff support. This is going to be a major focus in every single school this year. Teachers do a wonderful job supporting each other. We want to make sure that we're naming this. We want to make sure that this is on the forefront of the work that we do, and that if you do not feel as though you're getting what you need, that we're creating that psychological safety and that space for you to be able to come and share what your experience is and how we can improve it. So our goal is continuous improvement. We want to support our kids, but more importantly, we want to support our staff. So if we support our staff, then you'll be in a better place to support the kids. And of course, again, we want to focus on social emotional learning. We have, last year we received a grant through DESE that we could really start to focus on building some of those social emotional skills of our students. We're going to continue that work this year. So again, there's a lot of words on this slide. I won't read it all to you. But this is really the district focus. Now, if you're a classroom teacher, maybe your focus is on the curriculum, instruction, and assessment. And we're going to measure our student learning. We're going to take that information, and we're going to adjust our practice. Okay? We have a whole professional development week planned this week, and then it'll be supported throughout the year. We want to really make sure that we're using that data to inform our instruction and to meet our kids in real time. Okay? If you are a non-classroom teacher, maybe you're a guidance counselor or a school adjustment counselor, you'll be focusing on student and staff support. Okay? Maybe that's where your goal is. Okay? We know that last year we had a number of students and teachers that were absent 10 or more times. Okay? A lot of that we couldn't control because of the pandemic. But we feel if we can support our students and we can support our staff, we'll see increases in attendance. We'll see our students wanting to come to school, and we'll measure that. So last year we had over 30% chronic absenteeism. A lot of that had to do with the pandemic. There are things we're putting in place to make sure that those barriers are taken away. But you can't change student attendance without addressing their needs. If they want to come to school, if kids are excited and they feel supported, they'll come to school. And staff too. If we support our staff, we'll see that they'll be more likely to engage in our professional learning groups and to support one another. And finally, we want to make sure that we're supporting the social emotional learning of our kids, and we'll be measuring that through that C-list rating scale as we did last year. Okay? Again, thinking about our alignment, it's so important that we're all moving in the same direction. We're going to try to minimize the number of initiatives that we have and really focus on the core of teaching and learning, the core of building relationships with kids. We started last night the freshman orientation that we had here at the high school. They brought families in, and it was so nice to, at the beginning of the school year, actually bring families back into the building to be able to walk through, to get their Chromebooks, to see the gym, to see the classrooms. So as we come back to school, we'll continue to focus on those relationships and making sure that we're all headed in the right direction. Okay? As we think about this week, we really want to make sure that when you listen to your principal this afternoon and when you attend the professional development these next couple days, that we look at the schedule and we limit the number of things that we're doing. Okay? So one of the things I like to say is you need to go slow to go fast. We want to slow down and get back to basics. Okay, we want to slow down and get back to the reasons why you became a teacher, to support and to inspire kids. So today we have our welcome back and our teacher administrative days. Shortly you'll go and you'll see your principals, you'll have your staff meetings, and then you'll be able to go connect with your colleagues and set up your classrooms. And that's a very important day. Tomorrow we're going to get into developing a common language for what good instruction looks like. What does it look like? What are some of the best teaching practices that we have? How can we share those with one another? And how can we discuss that so that our kids have a great opportunity? Okay? We want to move away from remediation and into an idea of acceleration. So if our students were missing last year, our students were struggling a little bit in terms of learning loss due to the pandemic, we want to accelerate that learning so that they can get onto grade level. If they're already at grade level, we want to accelerate their learning so that they're meeting or exceeding those expectations and that they're opening up those opportunities. So we're going to talk a lot about this idea of acceleration this year. And then finally, we have an excellent keynote speaker on Wednesday. Her name is Jessica Minahan. She wrote the Behavior Code, and she really talks about how we can support one another, how you can support your own mental health, how you can support each other, how as staff members we can support one another and we can really help each other as we talked about earlier. And when you do that, then you're able to help our students. Okay, so we have a great week planned for you. We're very excited about that. And the way that we're going to do this, the way we're going to move forward this year in our schools is by supporting one another and by working together. So I'd like to end with this video. If the sound isn't great, don't worry about it. It's not in English anyway. So we're going to play this video and let's see, make sure that we have it going.
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर आइए सर ये चल चल जाओ बोला क्या बात करता है क्या ऊपर से जाएगा क्या ऊपर से जा जा
गया मेन शो
I hate this country. कुछ करो ना.
मैं वहां जाके क्या उखाड़ लूंगा.
कैसी जाने बूंदे आई जाने कैसा दर्द लाई सामने क्या है ये तेरे क्यों रुका है तू बता रे हो कौन तुझको पार लेगा कौन होगा वो मसीहा जिसे तू ढूंढता है वो ही है तू वही है तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है तुझ में तेरा है सहारा तू ही तुझको पार लेगा तू ही है तेरा किनारा है तुझ में तेरा है सहारा तू ही तुझको पार लेगा तू ही है तेरा किनारा जिसे ढूंढता है तू ही रे तू ही रे तू ही रे तेरा मसीहा हो
Okay, so I love that little video because you see this tree is down in the middle of the road and it's preventing everyone from moving forward. And it's symbolic of the obstacles that we all face. And then you have this little kid who goes out and tries to move this tree by himself, okay? And that's like us. Each one of us is a little kid trying to overcome an obstacle that we can't do by ourselves. And it's hard. And at first, some people were laughing at him, and then the other kids joined, and they couldn't move it by themselves. Just like we can't move this district forward by ourselves. But then you saw that initiative inspired other people to come in and to try to move that immovable obstacle. And when they had everyone working together, they were able to finally lift the tree up and move the tree, and then they were able to celebrate. And you notice at the end, there was this sense of community. There was this sense of people celebrating together and patting the little boy on the back and sharing that they just went through something. And they went through it together, and they can all reap the benefits of it. And that's where we're going as a district. We're coming through this together, and as we exit out of last year and we enter into the new year, there are going to be some obstacles that seem like they're too big for any one of us individually. But collectively, if we all work together, we can achieve this sense of hope. And we can achieve this sense of hope for our students and each other and developing that community. So I'm going to end with this, and I just want to thank you all for the work that you've done, and I want to say how impressed I am when I go to every school of the community that you're all building. I'm humbled to be a part of this community, and I want to thank you for all the work that you've done. I want to just give you guys a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Before we go today, I would like to welcome our mayor, Mayor Ted Betancourt, who's a huge supporter of the schools, just to come up and he wanted to say a few words and just welcome you to a great school year. So he's going to come up, and then after he speaks, we're all going to go back to our schools, and we have a great meeting with our principals, and we're going to start the school year off. So thank you all. I'd please like to join me in welcoming Mayor Ted Betancourt.
Good morning, everyone. That was a pretty cool video. Thank you, Dr. Vidala. I just wanted to take a moment to be here, first to welcome you back for a new school year, but just to show my thanks and appreciation and gratitude for all the work that you've been doing for certainly these last 18, 20 months during this pandemic. I've said many times that the struggles and challenges that we have faced are unprecedented. There's been nothing like it in decades and decades, and there's been a great deal of pressure on all of us. I've said many times that it's never been more difficult to be a teacher, a police officer, and certainly other professions. But teachers, police officers, they're the heart of our community, the heart of our city, and I know the pressure and challenges have just been intense for all of you, and I'm sure there's been very difficult moments along the way. Unfortunately, it looks like those moments are going to continue, at least for a little while here, as we're trying to figure things out. But I really wanted to just be here to thank all of you, and again, on behalf of the city, to show our appreciation and gratitude. I have 4 children in the Peabody Public Schools, ranging from juniors in high school this year, which I can't believe, and a preschooler. One of them is here today, my daughter Avery, who's going into 7th grade, and for some reason, in an 80-degree day, she's wearing a heavy sweatshirt, but that's besides the point. But I've seen it at my house, the struggles that our students are having, our children are having, and I've certainly seen it across the city with people that I've spoken to. And thankfully, we have all of you in the classroom working with our students. I've been very blessed to see the care and compassion, concern that all of you have shown our students, trying to navigate each of our students through their difficult paths that they're all on. And I know it's taken its toll on all of you, but the work you do is essential, it's important, and we're really blessed to have all of you in these positions. I'm not sure where we would be without our teachers in the front lines. So I just wanted to come again to thank you, show our respect. The challenges are going to continue. I certainly wish I had all the answers. I don't. I'm going to try my hardest to support all of you and do what we can to help this city and our school system move forward. But I'm going to try to do the very best I can for all of you. But thank you for taking up this challenge, and I wish you the very, very best for this coming school year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Typically, you would hear now from your union president, Eric Blake. So we would like to congratulate Eric Blake as the new president of the Peabody Federation of Teachers. He supports the teachers union and the paraprofessionals. He is at the Higgins this year with his staff. If it was Zoom, he would be able to zoom in, but since we did YouTube, he's not. So I just wanted to recognize him. We've been working together all summer. So impressed with the collaborative relationship that we have with the union, with the mayor's office, with our school committee. It's really everyone working together. You will receive an email from me. I'm going to forward it from the union today. And there's an ability to sign up on an email list on your personal email, but we did want to be able to support that work through an email out to all of your school emails, and then if you would like to do some union business via your personal email, we'd like to extend that opportunity. We'd like to thank our unions for ratifying on Friday a new contract. The school committee has recognized in the mayor's office and our administration that last year was hard, and we did not want you to go into the new school year without a contract. So we anticipate that the school committee will vote to accept that tonight, and we'll be able to move forward. And we just want to thank you all for your confidence in each other and for the work that you're doing. It's going to be a challenging year, as they all are, but it's going to be a lot better because you're together and because you're here to support one another and because we're here to support you and we have our city supporting us. So thank you all. We hope you have a great year, and please enjoy the rest of your day and this great week. If you need anything, please reach out. Thank you so much.